I was at work the other day and my boss sent me a text asking me to come to his office because he wanted to hear my thoughts and opinions on the 1982 sci-fi horror classic John Carpenter's The Thing. Got excited, grabbed my dream journal, and I ran right over there. But he's a liar. It was a trick. Fiddlesticks. I should have known. He said, "Joe, have a seat. I want to hear about what happened between you and Rebecca from accounting the other day." And I said, "You think this is the first time I've ever been interrogated? How about you tell me what you think you know, and I will deny accordingly, as is my right as an American." He said, "Joe, that's not how this works. Either you tell your side of the story, or we're going to go with what she said." I said, "Okay, boss, here's what happened. I was in the break room the other day, minding my own damn business, eavesdropping, and I couldn't help but overhear Rebecca talking to Natalie about toxic masculinity. She was clucking away about how her husband has a fragile male ego, and how he, like all men, can't seem to understand that the world doesn't revolve around him, that not everything's about him. Naturally, I felt the need to defend myself, so I walked over there and interjected. I said, "Rebecca, do you think it's at all possible that your husband does not have a fragile male ego, that he has a regular fragile ego? And what are your thoughts on toxic femininity?" And she said, "I don't know, depends. How do you define toxic femininity?" And I said, "Shark Week and 60% of bear attacks." She said, "Joe, from what I've seen, you are the epitome of toxic masculinity." And I said, "Why? Just because I like to gaslight people?" She said, "Yes, you do like to gaslight people." And I said, "Why would you say that?" She said, "You just said you like to gaslight people." And I said, "No, I didn't. You sound crazy. Besides, you're not mad at me. You're mad at your husband." She said, "My husband is 10 times the man that you are." And I said, "He'd have to be. He deserves a goddamn medal for being married to you." And then I challenged her to a dick-having contest. My boss said, "Yep, that's exactly what Rebecca said happened." And I said, "Am I fired?" He said, "Fired? No, we're going to make you take a sensitivity course and then release you back out into the wild." And I said, "Yeah, boys club." He said, "Boys club." Then we touched tips. We high-fived. We shook hands. We hugged it out.